Hello, what's up? I'm Inezalea from ToleratedCinematics.com, and today I will be showing you how to create some awesome atmospheric smoke effects in Adobe After Effects, entirely done within After Effects without the use of any external plugins or stock footage. A really cool thing to add into your motion graphics to give your background some more dynamic feeling. So yeah, really cool effect. It's actually inspired on a project that I made last week. I also did a tutorial on that. I will put a link to it in the description so you can go and check that out as well, because it delivers some really cool results. And apart from that, I will be making another tutorial where I will be explaining how to do those floating particles in the scene, which are also really cool to add into your videos and whatever. So yeah, that's really cool. Right now we're just going to focus on that smoke. Let's open up Adobe After Effects and get started. Alright, here we are in Adobe After Effects, and I'm not sure if you can see it right, but here is the atmospheric smoke created. So we have a background with different variations of speed and sizes of some fractal noise. So I'll take you through how to create this effect right now. So let's create a new composition, and we'll make it full HD, so that's 1920 by 1080p, and we'll rename this atmospheric background. Okay, 30 FPS, 10 seconds long, seems about right, and we'll click OK. So alright, so here we have our new composition. The first thing that I want to do is right click and create a new solid layer. This is just going to be our background, so I'm going to call it BG just to be safe. Then I'll click on that layer, and I'm just going to hold Ctrl and press D on the keyboard, or go to Edit, Duplicate. And right now I'm just going to rename it by hitting the return key and just renaming this Fractal Noise 01. And there we go. Okay, so now in the effects and presets right here, I will be searching for fractal noise, and we'll be using the noise and grain fractal noise effect. Apply this to our layer right here. So now we have something like this, and here is where the magic actually happens. So we have all these settings right over here. The first thing that you can do is, I'll keep it on basic, but you can play around with the contrast here, depending on how intense you want your smoke to be. Then I want to open up the transform tab right here and scale it just the way you want it to be. You can also uncheck the uniform scaling and actually scale it more like this if you want to. That's completely up to you. Maybe you want your clouds to be a little bit wider, and you can do that right here. So maybe we have something like this going on, and then we have some evolution right here, which will animate the fractal noise like so. So what we want to do is hold Alt and click on the stopwatch for the evolution to add a script so it actually keeps animating in a loop. So we'll write times, and then it's up to you. Something like 75 should do fine. Let's see how that works here. And now we have just a subtle animation like so. Of course, smoke travels to the left, right, or up. So you can play around with that as well by playing with the offset turbulence right here. And of course, you can go ahead and animate this. But again, I will be doing this with an expression so we can actually, do this continuously. So hold Alt and click on the stopwatch for the offset turbulence. And then right here, we'll open up the brackets and write value, open brackets again, enter 0 and close the brackets. This is actually the value for the X, so this value right here, and we'll write comma, and again, value, open bracket, 1, close bracket, and close bracket again to close the first bracket, and then we have our expression. So the last value, the first, value 1 here is for the Y value right here. So X goes left and right, and Y goes up and down. So what you can do now is behind the value 0, for example, behind the X, we can add, so we can add plus times 100, for example. And now it's only going to travel to the right normally. So right here we see the animation, it's traveling to the right. What you can do as well is in the value 1, we can minus times 50, for example. And that's going to make it move up a little bit, like there is some kind of gravity. So you can really play and, change all these values right here. I'm just going to undo the traveling up part here. I want to keep my smoke just like this. And also, in my evolution, I want to actually up this to 150. So we have a little bit more variation going on. Now, of course, we can also play with the complexity right here. If we're going to take this down to 1, we'll see that we have no detail whatsoever. We can crank this up all the way up to 20, and now we're going to see a lot of detail. So that's up to you. I like to have a lot of detail in there, so I'm going to keep it as it is right here. Okay, so really cool. What you can do now is press T on the keyboard. Now we actually want to lower this to something like 5. And if we're going to preview this, you can actually see some smoke in the distance now. So this is exactly what we're actually looking for. The only thing that we still have to do is add some variation in there. So to do that, we'll click on my layer and go to Edit and duplicate that layer. And I'm going to press E twice on the keyboard. That's going to open up all the expressions for that layer. So right here, what we want to do is change the value a little bit. So maybe change this to 100 and maybe change the speed to something like 70 or maybe even 50. And there we go. And then we can click on that layer and maybe play with the transform. So uniform scaling, we can make this a lot bigger, for example. And now we're going to get different speeds, different layers of our fractal noise. We can also toggle the switches and change the blending mode to a screen, for example. And that way, if you're going to add some color to your background, for example, if we click on the background, go to Effect, Generate, Gradient Ramp right here, you're going to see that we actually see through right here. So maybe we want to make this very dark blue. Okay, and then this one, maybe a little bit like orange, reddish kind of. And just keep it very subtle, but that way you can get some color in your background and add these cool atmospheric smoke effects. Also, you can click on these smokes and go to Effect, Color Correction, Tint, and play with the color of the white right here. Maybe you want blue or you want a little bit like dust colors right here, and that we can change these colors. If we're going to solo this and press T on the keyboard and bring it back up to 100, you can see right here we're actually changing the color from our smoke. So play with the opacity right here and do whatever you want actually. Okay. And like this, we keep stacking, so you can duplicate it one more time if you want to. Control D and open up the transform and maybe change it to something like 50, or a little bit bigger, like so. And just lower the opacity to something like 2 or 3 to add a little bit more detail. And also press E twice again and maybe change this to like 250 and make it fly a lot quicker, 200. So now we have different levels of smoke, really, really cool. Okay, so what you can do as well is add another layer, an adjustment layer. And right here, we're going to pick our ellipse tool and just add a quick vignette. So double click on here. I'm just going to make sure that I actually see my mask here. Subtract that layer, press F on the keyboard, change it to something like 500. Go to Effect, Color Correction, Curves, and just bring down the curves. So we have some darker edges to tone down our atmospheric scene here. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial actually. So this is how to create fake atmospheric smokes. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a like. Also subscribe to the channel for more and definitely check out our website. We have a bunch to offer, which I'm sure you will like. So links will be in the description. And apart from that, I'll see you in the next one. And goodbye.